Hi, I'm Rachel Lynn, and this is my May budget recap. I am going to go over my budget for the month of May and just recap everything that I spent. And I'll just tell you right now, it was a disaster of a month when it came to spending, but have no fear, I did not go over budget based on like my income. So, I mean, it's still good. It's just I don't normally spend like I spent in the month of May. I don't want to say too much before I get started, but I will say hi, I'm Rachel Lynn, and I am here to give you tips, tricks, inspiration, and motivation along your debt-free journey because I am also on a debt-free journey and I am working my way through my student loan debt. And so today is, like I said, my May budget recap. So I'm going to go over that right now. All right, here we are in the budget, and I have several notes. So first of all, if I have asterisks next to something, then that means that it was a single purchase that's split between categories, and I just like to put a little asterisk in there so that I know that what goes with what. So I denote that by like one asterisk for one purchase and then two asterisks for a different purchase if I have to split that up, and you'll actually see that a couple of times in my budget in May. My church giving, I upped that to $150 a month, and now it comes out once a month rather than weekly. This just makes it easier for me to close out my budgets at the end of the month rather than like waiting over a weekend. Like if the end of the month falls on a Monday or Tuesday, I would rather go ahead and close out my budget like Thursday or Friday of the week before, but I couldn't do that before, and now I can because I just give once a month instead of weekly. Then I also spent from my clothing sinking fund. I just wanted you to be prepared here. So I bought clothing items I've needed for a long time, but I kept putting off purchasing them. And I thought I had $400, but I was looking at the wrong line in my sinking fund. So I was actually looking at my medical fund instead of the clothing fund. So that's a big oops. And I didn't take money out from any of my sinking funds. Honestly, I think most of the money that I used just came from the income that I had, like the month of May. Probably really, I don't think I went over income from May. That just meant less money that I ended up putting towards savings. But I did show that I have stuff coming out of my sinking funds. So you'll see where I took money out, even if I didn't actually take money out. Because that makes perfect sense. I'm sure it does. So the first thing we're going to go over here is my other known allocation. So this is stuff that doesn't change very often. So for church, I, of course, gave $150. I put $736.02 towards savings, so you might notice that that's actually much less than normal. Usually it's over $1,000, and so that's where most of my money came from because I ended up putting a bunch in sinking funds, which you can probably already see down below. Rent is $200. That goes from my main checking account that gets taken out early in May, and then the bill gets paid automatically from a separate checking account that the money is transferred to. And my payment on that is actually less, but because my rent is $200, all of the $200 goes into that account so that I know I have extra money to pay towards those student loans. And it's paying my rent because I live at home and my parents are paying my undergrad degree, and so it's this whole thing that we've worked out, and I just even it up by putting $200 in that account even though the bill is actually less. My graduate loan payment is $72.52. That's just the minimum payment, and then anything extra that I pay towards that either goes under the extra student loan payment or savings if I'm putting it in savings instead. And I am still currently putting my money in savings right now instead of paying towards a student loan. I should be making quite a big payment here soon, towards the end of June, sometime in July. I'm not sure what I'm waiting on at this point. Now that my contract for next year is signed and I know I'm working, I know I'm going to get paid, I feel relief in that, but I'm just kind of waiting to make that payment. Then, of course, my extra checking account is just an extra account that I don't really add anything to unless I use part of my emergency fund. And then my sinking funds, I normally only put $250, but you can see I put $650 to make up for money that I spent. Then my HP Instant Ink was $5.29, and my Verizon bill was $53.79. I think the last budget update, I had kind of started doing it at the beginning of the month. The bill comes at the very end of the month, and I like to pay it right away, but I don't like putting it in at the end of the month because I'm trying to close out the budget at the end of the month, so it's just a very inconvenient time for that bill to come in. So actually, I might want to try to change that. If you are trying to work things out with your budget and you're having a hard time with when certain things fall, you can actually call and ask for your due date to change. Now, that may mean that you end up paying a little bit, and not extra, I guess a little bit more one bill to make up for extending your bill out, or you may end up like maybe pay a partial bill and then they can change the date from there. So that is a possibility, and I have never heard of any bills not allowing you to do that other than rent. You can change the due dates on credit cards, you can change them on your cell phone bills and all kinds of different things. So always, if that's very inconvenient for you, see if you can change that. And I think I really need to do that because I don't like when that bill falls. It just makes it hard to close out the budget. Moving on, I did not buy any gas in the month of May. I also did not buy any groceries in the month of May. Moving on to my teaching allocation, I spent $40 on Amazon on May 3rd. And you'll see there are 2 asterisks here. That means that there is another partial purchase. This is only partial purchase that I made on Amazon, and I spent more money in another category. I also spent $106.66 for the Get Your Teach On virtual conference. This conference was at the beginning of June, and it was amazing. Oh my gosh. I learned so much. I was rejuvenated to be a teacher, even though I didn't feel unjuvenated, but it was amazing. And the best part about this is I will actually be reimbursed the $106 from my school because they paid for me and several other teachers at my school to go to this conference, or not go to it, but to attend this virtual conference online. From my spending allocation, here's another part of Amazon purchase. I spent $51.43 on Amazon for spending. This was just various stuff that I just wanted. I also spent 99 cents for Apple storage, $13.69 for Amazon Prime, and then $9.48 for Netflix. I may create a new category in my known allocations that has these 3: Apple storage, Amazon Prime, and Netflix. Maybe add in like subscriptions that I have as one, and probably HP Instant Ink might fall under there as well, because those are all, like, I know exactly how much they're going to be each month, and I kind of feel cheated about my spending money when that stuff comes out. The last several months I haven't spent anything from my spending allocation, so it's not a big deal, but I'm over budget $15.59, and if I didn't have these subscriptions here, then I wouldn't be over budget, and so I kind of feel like they're their own thing. Okay, here's where the bad part comes in. I spent a lot of money at restaurants in May. Oh my goodness, this is not going to be pretty. So I spent Chick-fil-A's $15.67. That had to have been for me and paying for somebody else. Dunkin' Donuts was $12.88. That was actually a purchase for my dad. He was very, very sick. We were actually afraid that he might have had COVID-19. He did not, but I had taken him to the doctor, and then we were trying to get him something to eat. He got a breakfast sandwich and a donut and coffee, and he really didn't eat any of it either, because he couldn't eat anything, and he was very, very sick, and he ended up being sick for about a month, I guess. What it ended up being was a very bad kidney infection. But this was the day that we took him to get tested for the virus. I don't know that I was reimbursed for that. I don't even care. That maybe that should have gone under family time, but I just put it under restaurants because at that time I hadn't really spent a whole lot yet. So then May 18th, you can see all these McDonald's. Can you guess? I was allowed back in my classroom, which meant there's McDonald's right there, and I'm really busy, and it's just easier for me to drive pretty much right across the street, grab some McDonald's for lunch, and then come back and finish working. So I had to close out my classroom. We were done teaching, but I still had to close out my classroom, and I was working like nonstop in the classroom for that whole week and a little bit of the next week as well. So May 18th I spent $868, May 19th I spent $762, May 20th, $994, and then May 21st, $634. This is probably when I started to tire of McDonald's, and I had Culver's for dinner that day because I didn't want McDonald's twice in one day. So Culver's May 21st for $8.79, Culver's on May 23rd for $10.59. Culver's is quite a bit more out of the way, but when you're not wanting McDonald's anymore, it's not too bad. It's not too far. Then McDonald's again, May 25th, $8.68. McDonald's on the 26th, $8.68. Culver's on the 28th, $25.61. That was obviously a purchase from multiple family members. And so I guess it could have gone under family time, but I just put it under restaurants. And then Wendy's, $10.26 on the 29th, and Taco Bell on May 30th, $7.52. So I went over budget $101.26. Oh, it was not pretty. Not at all. And keep in mind here, like, my dad's in the hospital. I'm working in my classroom and still trying to, like, take care of my mom and my dad. And then he came home and then he went back to the hospital and then he came home again. And we're trying, I mean, it was a mess of a life, the end of May and early June. So, that's my, yeah. Anyway, that's what happened. My health allocation, I did not spend any money from that. Here are my sinking funds. I spent money at Kohl's. I bought some clothes, and then I also bought a gift for Mother's Day for my mom. I got her a blender, like a magic bullet blender thing, which she has been using almost every single day. So this is probably one of the best gifts that I have given her. She's really gotten some use out of that. And that was $46.46, and clothing was $40 from Kohl's. And you can see there's one asterisk, which means that was one purchase, and then here's another two asterisks from Amazon that it goes with the other purchases. So I also spent clothing at Lane Bryant. I spent $201.18, and then family time sinking from Amazon. I spent $20 on new cups for the kitchen because we really didn't have any plastic cups. We had a lot of mugs and almost no glasses because I'm not sure what's happened to those, and like no plastic cups. So I just decided to buy some for the household, and they're really big. They're like huge restaurant cups, which is great. Then I also spent $98.87 at walmart.com for more clothing, but $25.75 was refunded because I didn't get the item I asked for. It was some weird plasticky rings. I don't know, like silicone or plastic rings. I don't even know what they were. So I returned that and they gave me a refund, but I didn't get that refund until June. So that goes in my June budget. Now for my income, which sadly is not as nice as it was in April. But I made $1103.88 from my first paycheck, $337 for Capital One interest, $20 for a Capital One referral bonus, which I don't even think that I've mentioned that in I don't know how long. So thank you so much to whoever signed up using my referral link. If you would like to open a Capital One 360 checking or savings account, you can use the link that's in my description down below, and you can open that up. And if you open a qualifying account, you get a free $25 and I get a free $20. So it's a win-win for both of us. Then I also got paid from my second paycheck for $1103.88 for a grand total of $2,231.13. And I've just realized this is probably the least money that I have ever made in May since I was 18. That's pretty sad. I really miss working at Churchill Downs, that's for sure. This is just a general overview of all of my budget, and I like to look at this as well and show you where I spent and overspent in each category and how it comes out in the end. So of course I don't say how much I'm putting towards savings, but that's where the main overage comes in there. But I spent exactly what I needed to in church, rent, graduate loan, extra student loan payment, extra checking fund. Those are, well, those two I'm not really worried about right now. My sinking funds was $400 over. HP Instant Ink was right on target. Verizon Wireless was pretty close. Gas, I still had $25 left. Groceries, I had $100 left. Teaching, $334. Spending, I was over budget. Restaurants, I was over budget. And then health, I still had all of the money left over. That is my budget. It feels like a disaster, but it really wasn't that bad. I still put a really good chunk of change into savings that is going to pay off debt. So I'm feeling pretty good about that portion of it. So sometimes it just feels a lot worse than it actually was. And but it is good to admit things to you and get me out of that spending habit, because I continued some of that spending into June, although I redid some things, my surroundings here, and I redid some other things in my room that I will tell you about in my June recap. But I really need to get that spending under control before it really does get out of hand. So that is all I have for today. Make sure you are subscribed and like this video, and of course, make sure that you get your spending under control. I will see you in the next one. Bye.